We should wait for 2 to 3 minutes. We start. Meanwhile, we can discuss it out, right? What's happening? So yesterday I gave students some choices, right? So that we can have some concrete session today. I told them the points they want to discuss. I think 2 to 3 people have discussed a few points. Let me see. Let me start the video. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Okay. So, are you there? Unmute yourself and you can speak up, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, hello. So, okay, please use the chat box if you want to say anything, right? I'll be discussing all the things, all the doubts I'll be clearing on a chat box. Okay, right. Anything anyone would like to mention? Any questions one would like to be addressed today? So our agenda today, basically, I have 3 things to discuss. First, one question was asked by Akshay, how to prepare the science and tech environment. I'll discuss that in brief. One few of the sources I can recommend, a few of the strategies that I can recommend, right? So science and tech and environment, he asked specifically. Secondly, 3 topics were put together on the group. So I've taken 2 topics. So first topic is foreign funding and the NGOs, FCRA recent amendment act. So we'll discuss about it. Then we'll discuss the 15 years of RTI. Major focus will be on the some structural issues, basically exam centric, very exam centric, right? Nothing. We will discuss everything is exam centric. For example, RTI is relevant for GS2 as well and GS4 as well. In both the papers, you have this RTI has been given. Anything other than this you would like to discuss? Very less students are there today. Last time I think we have 20 students plus. So our current affairs also going to start of August month from next week onwards, I believe. Then every month we'll have 1 month current affairs, and that will be very comprehensive. I told you, don't leave it out. Whenever the video is uploaded, do study. And also, I believe on the YouTube or on our own platform, one day one topic series is also going to upload. One topic is completed, and the topics are going to come on the daily basis. I think 5 days or 6 days a week. So do prepare those topics as well. Whatever be the preparation stage in your examination, those topics are important as well. Okay, so let's start. Anything else anyone would like to say? Okay, Nikita said China was currency manipulator. Okay, Nikita, I'll keep that in mind for the. So please put it on the group, right? Whenever the next mentorship session is there, uh, I will notify on the message. Try to put together the topics. So I'll pick up one topic or not less than 2 topics. 2 topics or 3 topics I would like to discuss with you all, right? So as to give you perspective, for example, how not to read current affairs, but mainly from mains perspective and mainly from understanding perspective. What are the things that you need to keep in mind? Okay, Nikita, I'll keep in mind. Please text on the group as well. I hope you are on the group. Anyone else? So first, let us discuss the topics. Then we'll come to the this environment and this thing, environment and science thing. Okay. Okay, not an issue, Nikita. Not an issue. Okay. Right. So right. So I hope you can all see the screen. Just give me in the chat box if you can see the screen. Yes. Okay. Fine. So let's go ahead. So today is the third mentorship session. Second one was I'll consider it from the prelims perspective. So the first topic we're going to discuss is the NGOs and the foreign funding, right? So I will require inputs from your side. At least 3 to 4 people do speak on few of the topics that I'll discuss. It should not be one-way communication. I would like you to also to participate in it, right? So first, tell me the topic, NGO and the foreign funding. Foreign funding, that funding that comes from outside. Now, tell me first thing, the context, basically the context is the recent FRCA Amendment Act. It has been passed. Now, the act which has been passed, again controversial. FCRA Act has always been very controversial. We'll discuss both the aspects. What are the issues earlier and what are the issues in the recent amendment as well. Okay. So first tell me, this is the context, right? So first tell me that what is the significance of this foreign funding for the NGOs? Tell me, anyone? Just switch on your mic and one by one and very quickly. Why the NGOs need foreign funding? Okay, there is one topic in your GS2 that is NGOs, right? GS2 governance, very important topic. So NGOs, I will take it up in one topic, one day series as well. And I think in your governance section, who will be whatever teacher, faculty will be teaching governance, he will be teaching you NGOs as well. Various aspects related to NGO, maybe FCRA Act, he'll also be teaching. So here in one day, one topic series, one topic I will take this foreign funding. Again, I will take in detail. And second topic also, I'll take the significance of NGO. So anyone, Akshay, why the foreign funding is needed? Very quickly.
Sir, not quite sure. They do many activities like helping out the poor, the
Yes.
socio-economic activities.
So foreign funding for, use the words, right? Mobilization of resources. From where they will do these things. So they require these foreign funding. Next point. Anyone?
Sir,
yeah, who is speaking? Please tell me your name, then speak.
Sir, I am Suchita.
Yeah, Suchita. Hello.
Sir, infrastructure development.
Infrastructure development.
Sir, Suchita.
Yeah, okay. Infrastructure development basically.
Sir, foreign funding will help to infrastructure development.
Okay. Okay. So basically, infrastructure funding is mainly the purpose of the state, government, right? NGOs do not build a lot of infrastructure per se. You're getting my point. For example, some road has to be built, some bridge has to be built. Does NGOs have this much fund to build these roads? Answer is no. Do they have authority to do this? Maybe, but these big infrastructure project, no. So not building the infrastructure. That is why these NGOs are also called the non-state actors, right? They are not state actors. They do not do the functions that are there for the state to do. Anyone else? Why we need foreign funding? Think structurally. Why we need foreign funding? Very quickly, two more points. Who are there in the discussion? Gokul, Fiba, Anjana. Anjana is speaking. Yeah, who is speaking?
I'm Gokul.
Yeah, Gokul. Go ahead.
For employment.
Employment.
Yeah.
No, employment
For
again.
Salary.
Yeah, what are you saying?
Salary for giving.
Salary, again, these things are the functions of the state to provide employment to the people, right? Or the private sector to provide employment to the people, set up industries and all. NGOs does not have this specific purpose. You can understand that, right? Yes, on the byproduct can be obviously they'll be providing a lot of employment to the people. We will discuss that today as well. But per se, it is not the functions of the NGO, or for that they don't require the foreign funding. Anyone else?
Sir.
Yes, who is speaking?
FEBA.
Yes.
To control ownership.
Of ownership of whom?
To other countries.
Why? What are you saying? We require foreign funding. No. That's not a good argument.
Hello. These are trust. These are run by trust. Charity organizations.
Okay, that's fine. Then
they create their own educational and religious. There are different types of NGOs.
Fine. Now let me tell you, like, you are done. Now think very structurally, right? That is how you'll gonna get points in your exam as well, right? For example, first of all, why they are getting the foreign funding? So there are two words, foreign and funding. So first of all, why they need funding, right? Funding, first of all, to mobilization of resources, whatever the work they do. What type of work they do? They do research. They help these people out. For example, in the COVID-19 migrant, a lot of NGOs have worked. You have to note down a lot of examples of the NGOs that are working. For example, Akshay Patra working for the this midday meal scheme, right? A lot of NGOs that are working for the migrants, that have worked for the migrants, providing them food, providing them slippers, providing them this a lot of yeah, and Sonu Sood, for example, right? So mobilization of resource. So if they don't have resource on their own, they have to take up the funding. Next, for example, someone talked about education, right? So for that also, for this advocacy research, to collaborate with the foreign NGOs to do these things. So for that they require funding and all these purposes. Next, they require foreign funding because domestically funding is not available, right? There was a report way back, I think I've taught in prelims current affairs, philanthropy in India report, because in India people do not support a lot of NGOs. People do not give a lot of money to the NGOs. So they don't have the funding from India itself. Plus, in India, we have the state, we have the private sector. Now, private sector currently giving a lot of money in the form of the CSR to the state or doing their activities on their own, or PSR giving the funds in the form of the PM cares, right? So from where the NGOs will get the money? So for that, they require the foreign funding. So very basic idea. I hope you all got the point, right? Now, again, why this problem has coming? Now we get the idea that foreign funding is required, but what are the concerns with this foreign funding? What are the concerns the government says that why we need to have this FCRA Act, why we need to amend it? So there must be some concerns with this foreign funding, right? What can be the concerns? I hope you can all see the PPT, right? Okay. So first one is that these NGOs, these are the allegations by the government, or these are the findings of the various agencies of the government, so that we need to control these NGOs. So first is these NGOs deliberately obstruct the development. For example, very good report. And in mains exam, whenever you give an argument, support it with the fact. Support the fact or example or case study. Support it. You have to support it. Otherwise, the assertion will remain hollow. Okay, he has just said it. But there has to be some data, some facts, some articles behind it. Okay. So deliberate obstructions of development. For example, intelligence report has come. They say that many NGOs come and they deliberately disrupt the development. So they go against this thermal power plant, mining plants, aluminum mining, and all these things. For example, you must be hearing this NGO is protesting against this particular power plant, or this NGO is protesting against this mining in some particular area. So IB report has said, Intelligence Bureau report has said that these NGOs are doing it deliberately so as to hamper our own GDP. And they have calculated, or they have researched, that 2 to 3% of India's GDP coming down because of the activities of such NGOs. So this is the argument of the government, that there has to be good control over the NGOs, especially the foreign funding, because the main source of funding for the NGOs is the foreign funding. Second point is ulterior motive driving the agenda, not welfare. So the government argues, for example, the NGOs, one NGO protesting against the Kudankulam power plant, nuclear power plant, Kudankulam in Tamil Nadu. Now the government says that this Kudankulam power plant was supported by Russia. The government found out that a lot of NGOs, those who were protesting, they were funded by the US, because at that time US also wanted some partnership with India on the nuclear power plant front, right? So US using the NGOs to protest against the Russian-driven power plant. So it was not the motive of the NGOs to go for welfareism, not the help to the people, not these things, but the foreign relations and the trade. That was the main concern. So they have an ulterior motives, these NGOs, and that is why the government wants to curb these foreign fundings. Then there are some NGOs recently that have been found that these NGOs are doing the conversions, religious conversions. And you know, this government, this BJP government is very strict against this religious conversions. If it is happening to Hindu religion, then that's fine. Otherwise, they are saying that you are converting a lot of people to Christianity or to Muslim. So reducing the Hindus in their own country as minorities. So they allege that many of the NGOs funded from outside are going for the religious convergence, and that is against our Article 25. Again, you have given one substantial point, that Article 25 said that there has to be freedom of conscience. There cannot be forced conversions by NGOs. And lastly, the transparency of the fund received. The NGOs that are receiving the funds, that are not very transparent in their dealing. Okay, that are not very transparent in their dealing. These NGOs do not file this proper returns. They do not submit this, do not submit this proper returns. And they use these funds. For example, these NGOs, those who are, these NGOs use the money for the office bearers. So luxury cars, AC offices, a lot of salary. They employ their own people in their offices, and they give hefty salaries to these people instead of doing any welfare work. So the government says that is why we need to work on these foreign funding for the NGOs. Getting my point? So these are the points you can discuss with respect to the foreign funding for the NGO and concerns. There is one more concern. The government says, or the government argues, that if you rely a lot on the foreign funding, what about the self-reliance? When we will develop the self-reliance? The Atmanirbhar Bharat kab banenge? When we will develop this Atmanirbhar Bharat? Right? If you rely a lot on the foreign funding, so we need to persuade our Indians only to fund these NGOs. Right? So these are the concerns that are there with the foreign funding. And that is why the government has this FCRA Act. So in 1976, we already have an act for control of this foreign contribution. In 2010, finally, we come up with a comprehensive rebooted act, FCRA, Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. And it is amended again and again, and recently it has been amended recently in September month. Okay, right. So few of the important things you need to keep in mind, that it is under the aegis of the Ministry of Home Affairs. So Amit Shah, basically, Amit Shah is holding these NGOs thing. Then every 5 years, these NGOs have to renew themselves. So the license is issued. Every NGO, first of all, who is receiving the foreign funds from outside, they have to register with the FCRA. And every 5 years, they have to renew this FCRA. They have to renew their registration. Now, if the government wants to control these NGOs, what they will do? They will say they will make it renewal process very tough. They will say, no, I will not register. I will not re-register you. You have this problem. You have it on very trivial issue. You don't have this document. You don't have that document. You have done this, and now you will not be re-registered. Right? In 2015, a rule has come that then NGO who will be doing activities that are against the public interest, that will affect the sovereignty and integrity of India, then they can put those NGOs on notice period. And now you now preparing for UPSC, this public purposes, this integrity, sovereignty, these are very vague terms. And the government of the day uses these terms to curb on the dissent, curb on the people who are against the government, basically. And that is where the concern has come that the government is cracking down on the NGOs. A lot of example is there. The issue of this FCRA and NGO is not new, actually. It's an old issue. So in for example, November 18, you can see. So after cancelling the FCRA license of 18,000 NGO in the 6 years, Center asked states to track the funding of anti-national activities of NGO. They have said, this IB report has discussed that a lot of NGOs are going into this anti-national activities. And the government said, no, we don't want this anti-national activity, just like JNU scene. Then the Greenpeace, very commendable and very authentic NGO all over the world. But in India, in 2011, from 2011, they have been protesting for this coal block allocations and some of the problems that are there, right? Challenges government stance on the coal mining in the forest. So they were protesting against these things. So the government has cracked down on the Greenpeace. Now the crackdown does not come directly to the task the government is doing. For example, government is doing something, for example, in the coal mining. Now the government will not say you are challenging us to the coal mining. We are replying to you. No, they will reply it from the other end. They will say, okay, we are curbing your foreign funding. We are putting you on the hold. Right? So, for example, the NGO has been the forefront on the global campaign against the coal mining, and the coal is at the heart of the Modi government's plan to revamp the industrial production. So, when an NGO comes in the way of the government plan, the government uses this FCRA Act to get them out of the country. Similarly, one Amnesty International, which has also got a Nobel Peace Prize, It does a lot of human rights research. Its research in the Jammu and Kashmir comes into being, and the government is not happy. Obviously, if any NGO works, if any NGO tells a story of the Jammu and Kashmir different from the government cracks down on the people and on the NGOs that are there. So harassment says NGOs after CBI raids in 20 on I think November 19. This offices harassment details have come that they're raiding their offices. They have said, okay, pack up and go to the Amnesty International. Now you can see from 2011 itself, the FCRA registered NGOs are declining, even though the number of NGOs are increasing. But FCRA registered NGOs are declining. Why? Because the government is funneling their foreign funding. And if they don't have the lot of foreign funding, if the NGOs don't have funding, foreign funding is the only option. Domestic funding is less. So if they don't have a lot of funding, they don't have a lot of resources to mobilize against the state. They cannot protest against the state if they don't have funding. From where there being so many people to protest, to continue sustenance of a protest for long periods. Then quantum of the foreign grants have also reduced. You can see only 16,000 crore around they are getting in 2018-19, these NGOs. So FCRA funding is also decreasing. FCRA registered NGOs are also decreasing, and that is because of the government's crackdown on the and tougher norms for the re-registration. Government's crackdown on the NGOs, cancelling of the registrations of many NGOs, that you will not get these foreign funds. That brings me to the next topic, that is overall what are the issues with the FCRA, right? Let us discuss one by one. The first one is the politicization of NGOs. Now the government will not go against the NGOs that is speaking in their voices. Obviously, the NGOs which are pro-government, they will not go into those. And the NGOs such as Greenpeace, Amnesty International, right? One more we will read. So they will go against those NGOs. So it will create a biased political debate. It is also a chilling effect on the freedom of speech and expression, isn't it? If you are speaking against the government, an organization, then they are taking you down, right? So it leads to the self-censorship as well. What does self-censorship means? मैं खुद से ही नहीं बोलूंगा. The NGO itself will not do a lot of advocacy work for the people. They will not speak against the state itself. इसको बोलते हैं, this is called chilling effect on the free speech, and which is not a good thing. Which is not a good thing at all. Because it is the free speech which creates this discussion, dissent, debate, which is important in the democracy. Then disproportionate penalization. The penalty which is there is disproportionate on the very trivial issues. You have not submitted the returns. You have changed the personnel in your. You have changed some people in your NGO. You have not told us, so they will cancel the registration. They will suspend it. So this is disproportionate penalty that they are giving to the NGOs. Lastly, the over-regulation. The state power is increased over these NGOs. Now imagine in a country like India, where state does not have a lot of money, fiscal capacity, it's very poor. In the COVID-19, fiscal deficit is going up the roof. The private sector twin balance sheet problem is there. They don't have a lot of money to pump in. And now the NGOs which is doing the real groundwork, you are saying, no, you will not get the foreign funding. So from where they will get the money, from where they will do their work? So they are curbing their creativity, their competitiveness, the cooperation among the NGOs and the collaboration. We'll discuss this point again with the 2020 amendment. And lastly, it is not in conformity with the international standards as well, because whether it is a part of International Covenant on Civil or Political Rights, whether our fundamental rights, Article 19(1)(e), which says that, Article 1(c), I think, right to association, these things are against it. So these are the issues with the FCRA in totality. If we talk about the recent amendments, so few of the provisions and how they are an issue, right? So let us start with this one. For example, first provision is that prohibition to accept the foreign contribution, right? Now recently this act has said that the public servants, they have said these public servants These public servants cannot take up the foreign contribution. Okay, they have defined it. They have defined the public servant as the service who's in service or pay of the government, remunerated by the government, who's getting money from the government. He will not get the foreign funding. Earlier, it was the earlier scene. Earlier, they have debarred certain people, including the government servants. So earlier, this public servant, which is a very big term, which was not used. Now they have said these government servant. Earlier it was government servant. Now it is public servant. Right? Now context behind it lies on this. Now in 2016, Ministry of Home Affairs has questioned this NGO, that is name was Lawyers Collective. Right? So Lawyers Collective NGO was there, which was run by Indra Jaising, very famous lawyer. Now the government said that Indra Jaising cannot take up this foreign funding. This NGO was taking the foreign funding. Indra Jaising cannot take the foreign funding because she was an additional solicitor general at that point of time. So she was getting money from the government. She was a government servant. Right? She was a government employee, sorry. But Indra Jaising in the court says that I am not a government servant, I am a public servant. So she said that I am a public servant, I am not a government servant. So when she said that in 2016, I think some people say that is the idea behind to bring the public servant in this act. So as to increase the number umbrella on the people who are taking this foreign funding. So what it will do, what is the negative impact of it? Assume these public servants, they are not debarred. Now these are the public servants only. A lot of public servants are the people who are the leaders of these NGOs, which can mobilize funds from outside. And when you have debarred these people, how will these NGOs will survive, right? That is the point. Next is, that is a very important second point, transfer of the foreign contribution. Now the bill says that the transfer, for example, one NGO is there, it is registered with the FCRA. Okay. Now this is registered with the FCRA, it is getting funds from foreign funding, it is getting. Now this NGO can work with the other NGOs, NGO 2, NGO 3, and very small scale grassroots NGOs. Now these are so small NGOs which are working in a very specific area, and these are not registered with the FCRA. You get the story. So one NGO is an umbrella NGO, big NGO, which is getting the foreign funding, which is registered with the FCRA, which is complying with all the government requirements, but it is working in collaboration with the small grassroots NGOs, individual, association, or registered company. Right? Earlier, this funding was, this transfer of money was allowed. You can get the money from this to this. Okay, we will, the collaboration, the cooperation part will go on. But now this 2020 Act says that this is not allowed. This is not allowed. You cannot give this money, you cannot transfer the foreign money to these NGOs. Now you can imagine what these small NGOs will do. These small NGOs are saying we will die because we will not get any funding from this, and we are so small to register with the FCRA. We cannot get this a lot of money, we cannot spend on the registration and all these things. So government is increasing the cost of compliance so that these small NGOs cannot receive this foreign funding and portion the government. And these are the NGOs which create trouble for the government actually, because these NGOs work on the grassroots level, on the tribal level, and all these things. We will read in the RTI also. Then, so the bill will impact the livelihood of the worker associated with the very small NGOs. Very small NGOs, right? Leading to the killing of the entire social sector. So the whole social sector, whole NGO sector will be destroyed, right? Okay. Then the paper Live Mint also argues that a lot of these NGOs do not get a huge fund. They'll get very small fund. They also said that the FDI, which is we are getting from the foreign countries for the companies, उसका 5%, only 5% of that fund we are getting for the NGOs, and we are cracking down on these NGOs, not on these companies. So you are targeting these companies only, these NGOs only. You're not concerned about foreign funding per se. You're concerned about these NGOs who are dissenting against you. Next is the third provision, the reduction in the foreign contribution for the administrative purpose. So one of the concerns that we have read that majority of the fund is used for the administrative purpose. So the government has said no, 50% earlier was allowed for the administrative purpose, but now they have said no, only 20% of the total fund you can use for the administrative purpose. Rest you have to use for the projects, the actual projects. So staff, bill, and all these things will be considered only within the 20%. Now, a lot of NGOs argue that this administrative cost also include the research cost. This administrative cost also includes a lot of advocacy cost. For example, an NGO which is working for the poor, for example, they're protesting against the poor. So that will be included in the administrative cost. And with this, the government is saying that don't advocate. So you see here, it is particularly difficult for the NGOs who work revolve around the advocacy rather than the project. So the NGOs work advocacy, which is a very important work of the NGO, not being done, right? So these are the problems with this particular act. Then one more, fourth one, that all the NGOs which are registered with the FCRA have to register with the SBI of New Delhi. Have to open this account in the SBI of New Delhi, right? This is being said in the act. Now the research says that only 7% of the NGOs are working in Delhi. It says that only which are registered with FCRA, only 7% are in Delhi. All of the other are outside Delhi. So it will increase against the cost of compliance. And plus only one branch is there, so the Home Ministry can do more monitoring. They can see where the money being used. So it will increase the centralization tendencies in the government. Then lastly, they have said this Aadhaar is mandatory, while the Supreme Court says that Aadhaar is not mandatory in everything, only in few things Aadhaar is mandatory. So again, that's an issue. So a lot of problems are coming with this FCRA Amendment Act of 2020. Getting my point? These are the problems with the FCRA Amendment Act 2020. Now, one hypocrisy also the many people highlight. What is the hypocrisy? On the one hand, in the PM CARES, you have allowed this FCRA exemption that everyone can contribute to the PM CARE funds. But you are saying that the NGOs which are doing the real work on the ground should not get this foreign fund. So this is a hypocrisy from the side of the government, right? So these are the various issues that are with respect to this FCRA Amendment Act. You getting my point? So have you understood, Akshay? Anyone else? We want
Yes,
to,
sir.
yeah. You understood the topic?
Yes, sir.
Anyone on these things? So basically the idea was to discuss in a very brief way the recent Amendment Act, and more importantly to discuss the cons of it. And in detail, I will discuss it one topic, one day, one topic series. I'll discuss it in detail. Few more points: what should be the way forward? What should be the introduction if such questions come? For example, if any question comes on foreign funding crackdown, now in the mains examination, mains answer writing, what you can introduction, what you can do, write directly the context of it. What is the context? That recent FCRA amendment bill has raised some concerns. Or you can give the example that the past 6 years, some 18,000 NGOs have been, registration have been cancelled, like that. So you provide a context in which this is being discussed, instead of giving a definition. For example, if different question comes on NGO, that what is the work of the NGO, or something like that, role of NGO in the governance or good governance, like that. Then in the definition and the introduction, you provide a good definition of NGO. But if such question on the foreign funding come, give the context. That's it, right? So this is what you can do. So let's move to the next topic. Okay. So the next topic is RTI. Actually, first time I'm doing this current affairs, this topics, as you people have said. At the end of the session, let me know, was it helpful or not, or what is a relatively waste of time, or we could have done it on a better way. So second topic is RTI. So in the RTI, what I'll be discussing very quickly, asking from you what is the significance of RTI, what are the major challenges with the RTI, and lastly, the basically few quotes with related to RTI. Right? That's it. In detail, you'll discuss. You'll read it in governance. You'll read it in ethics. I have taught also in the ethics RTI. So what is the context? The 15 years of RTI. That is the context. I think one girl has mentioned. I'm forgetting the name. She has said that please sir discuss RTI. So 15 years of RTI has come, and now one of the headings says that the act is on the life support. So a lot of challenges to the RTI are in there, especially with 2019 amendment which was there in the last year. Right? Okay. So first tell me, just like the question I have asked, what is the significance of RTI, or what is the significance of information in democracy? Open your mic and speak to me. Right? Let's discuss it out. What is the significance of information in democracy? Right to information means I have a right to get the information. Why we need to have a right? First of all, ये right क्यों होना चाहिए? Why we need to have a right? Open your mic and speak up. Right?
Sir, since we are a democracy and it's said that we are, people are ruling, people are intended to be ruling, so they need to know everything that goes on.
Okay. People are ruling, people are sovereign, right? And the people are sovereign, then they should know what is going on. Very good. Anyone else? Information. Why information is important? अरे पढ़ रहे हो ना, data is the new oil. Why the data is the new oil? Why the information is very critical? बोलो बोलो. Speak up. कौन है? Mansi? Mansi is there? I think she is not there in my session. Varsha, Fiba, Nikita, Ankita.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, who is speaking?
Sir, this is Nikita.
Yeah, Nikita. Should I be telling each and calling out it, so it's like in school times. Should be coming on your own. Yeah, speak up.
Hello.
Yes, Nikita.
Sir, right to information, it's like it ensures transparency.
Very good.
Whenever citizens require a transparency in any of the government activities, we could demand for it.
Okay,
this.
fine. Why we need transparency?
There's a lot of corruption within the government bodies.
Okay, why we need to reduce corruption? Very quickly, one line. Why we need to reduce corruption? Let the corruption happen. Why we need to reduce the corruption? Anyone?
Of our government needs to be
what?
Efficiency, sir.
Why we need to reduce corruption? That's what I'm asking. हमें corruption क्यों reduce करना है? Why we need to reduce corruption? Aditya?
Can I say that?
Yeah. Who is speaking?
It's me, Vaishak, sir.
Yeah, speak. Yeah.
Sir, it will actually suppress the revenue for the service of the people.
Yes. Right.
That's right.
We speak like not expecting a lot from you, but they are reducing the public funds. Yes. There's a topic in ethics that is utilization of public funds. So that will lead to unethical utilization of public funds. So public funds not using for public but it is being used for the officials for their own capacity or for their own self purposes. Right. Anyone else? RTI, why information is required?
For many cases that they are helpful, like I read somewhere that it's admissible in the courts.
Okay, fine. Then talking a bit of procedural terms, थोड़ा सा idea के terms में speak. Let's talk in terms of the ideas. थोड़ा सा democracy के terms में, administration के terms में. Yes.
Ethics of letting people know everything.
है ना यहाँ पे democracy? You said the same point. You are saying the same point again.
Sir, one thing is that it will ensure the speed of the services.
Speed of the services, RTI.
I mean,
yes.
there will be, lagging. There will be no lagging. People can ask why it is lagging like that.
Good, good. So you are connecting basically RTI with a topic known as social audit, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Social audit is another topic. Okay, fine. So connecting RTI with social audit, that's good. Anyone else? Just one more point and then we'll move on. One more point.
RTA makes the government accountable to
Who
the
is saying?
people.
Who is saying?
This is Ullas.
Ullas.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you are saying it will make the government accountable to the people. Very good. That is the word I wanted to hear. Accountable to the people. Right. One more thing, few more things. RTI makes us what? Information makes us what? Informed citizen, isn't it? And do you think informed citizen is important for democracy? It is. If we don't have information, on which basis we will ask for our rights? What about the fundamental rights? हम आर्टिकल 32 कैसे यूज करेंगे? How will we use article 32? Right to constitutional remedies when we don't know what is the information. Getting my point? So try to relate to that level. Quality से relate किया, governance से भी related. Okay, so how will we ensure that our fundamental rights are not violated, they are respected? How will we make sure that the public funds are being utilized properly? Making public servants, making these public officials do the service part, not the sovereign part. They should not be the public master, they should be the public servants part. So making them accountable. So this is the significance of RTI. RTI, that is why ARC report says that RTI is the master key to good governance. Master key to good governance. Right? So whenever you read governance, you will read the 8 significance. Have you read governance topic? Anyone? Have you read governance? Hello? Arey koi bole? Anyone? Have you read governance?
No, sir.
No? Okay. So when you will read the first topic, you'll read first or second topic, you'll read good governance. So the good governance has 8 aspects. Okay, World Bank has given the definition of the good governance, and the RTI serves all the purposes: accountability, transparency, responsiveness, and all these things. Okay. So RTI says that it has made this 1.3 billion people into this whistleblowers. What is whistleblower? And auditors. It is not only the CAG which is the auditor, but also RTI has empowered all of us to be an auditor, all of us to be a whistleblower. Right? We are all empowered. So it is said in one place I have read that RTI has brought about the dawn of transparency from the darkness of secrecy. So earlier the government used to be secret. Don't tell anything, don't tell people anything, otherwise people will question, or they don't trust the people. It also goes to show that the people needs to be trusted, they need to be empowered. They should not be spoon fed. They need to be empowered so as to give them the information so that they can use that information to their own purpose, to ensure their fundamental rights, legal rights, and all these things. So this is the significance of RTI. Even in the times of the COVID-19, the RTI has been very critical to information about the medical facility. All these in your article only. Information about the medical facility, ICU beds, hold government departments accountable for delivery of food grains, social security benefits for this. It is helpful for the public spirited individual to this corruption, to reduce this, to address this corruption. We'll discuss case studies of RTI. For example, questioning the PM care funds. Right? So in RTI, what you need to know. Now let's talk in the terms of the examination. Right? Both GS2 and GS4. You can make a list of it as well. Okay? You can make a list of what the things you need to know in terms of the RTI. First, the significance of information. Significance of the information. That will be more critical to the ethics part, right? Then RTI significance. First the significance of information, then the RTI significance, or the RTI is achievement. Both are same basically. Okay. Next, RTI procedural issues that you'll read in the prelims. CIC, SIC is there in your Lakshmikant, right? So there you'll read about it, the significant, the appeal structure, and what are these things. So the procedural issue you need to know. Then the most important part, the challenges associated with the RTI. That is the most important. Any question comes on the RTI, that will be focused on this only. What are the challenges to the RTI currently? That's it. And next, you need to know some good case studies dealing with the RTI, where RTI has been successful to unearth this corruption, this not nepotism, corruption, this misuse of the public fund, and all these things, right? So these are the 5 to 6 things you need to know with respect to RTI. So for RTI, you make 3 to 4 page notes. That's it. That will serve you purpose for GS2, serve for GS4, and maybe if the question of the good governance being asked in the essay, there as well. Okay. Let's go to the, for example, Mr. Aristotle, what he says. Few of the quotes you can also remember, they can help you in essay and ethics, that liberty and equality is as thought by someone as chiefly to be found in democracy. They will be best attained when all the persons share alike, when all the persons alike share in the government to the utmost. Means when the people share in the government will be equal and highest, then the liberty and equality will be found in democracy. Then Mr. Woodrow Wilson says that everyone knows that corruption thrives in the secret places and avoid public places. And this is what RTI fights for. They avoid these secret places and they provide for the public information. RTI just hits on this bullseye, isn't it? So these are the few quotes you can highlight of these people, Woodrow Wilson. Right. Let us see a few successful case study. For example, the first one is CWG scam. You need to have these five, remember these 5 successful case study. You can make all the notes from the 5 case study that I have put, 4 to 5 case study I have put. Don't search for it, use it as it is. I will share the PDF after the end of the session on your group. So Mr. Kalmadi, if you must have heard of him, so he has diluted a lot of fund that was for the Dalit people, the fund that were used to be welfare of Dalit people, to the CWG scam or to this their own purposes, corrupt purposes. The fund which were to be used for the vulnerable communities were diverted to the other purposes. So it was a RTI which highlighted the CWG scam. The Kalmadi has to go jail and he has to resign and these things. Right? So make sure the first line that is written, the welfare becomes a right, not rhetoric. Right? Means the welfare should remain a right. Welfare should be seen in the ground. It should not remain the rhetorics. Okay, Modi ji ki speech mein, in the Modi speech only the vikas is happening. It should become the ground reality. Then next, ensuring that the public officials are for public services. So there was in 2008 there was an RTI. It was says that many IS officers who were the officials of this Indian Red Cross Society. So they used all the money to buy this expensive cars, air conditioner, pay for the hotel bills. All the money they are getting for the welfare of the people, for the health purposes. They have used all that fund on these things. So RTI has revealed that. So in making the public officials accountable for it. This is the second case study. Third case study, RTI becoming voice of the voiceless. Voiceless means, what does voiceless means? The most vulnerable community. The most vulnerable community in the society. Tribals, transgenders, Dalits, Dalit women, or the women in general. So a lot of communities are voiceless. They don't have a lot of capacity. They don't have a lot of information. They don't have a lot of resources to voice their put their voice up. Now that was a case in 2006 in Odisha. So the Odisha government gave a lot of land to one big industrialist to set up one university. right? So the RTI revealed that giving this land to these industrialists required the public hearing from the tribal people, those whose land were being to be taken up. But the RTI revealed that there was nothing being done. No public hearing was done. So when the Odisha High Court, they obtained this document and they have said, no, this is wrong. And then the project was scrapped. So RTI became a tool in the hands of these voiceless people. And those were helped by these publicly spirited men. He's called publicly spirited man. Those who work for these voiceless people. And these are what? These are NGOs only. Now connect the first topic with the other. These are who people? These publicly spirited individual. अरे वो free में काम थोड़े ना कर रहे हैं. They also require some sort of money. Some people may be working for free, but they require some foreign funding for the day-to-day management purpose. Hotel, this AC ka bill and all these bills, who will pay? They need to have some sort of money, right? So RTI has become voice of the voiceless. Then recently in February 2020, there was a news that the pension fraud came into limelight because of an RTI. So you can give one old example and you can give one new example for the RTI. Then this 2G scam also became one of the greatest abusers of power in India. It was also portrayed, it was also came into being because of an RTI. So these are the examples you can give where RTI was a successful tool, where it was used successfully to unearth these corrupt practices, right? So these are the case studies you need to remember, and these keywords remember: ensuring public officials are for public purpose, welfare is a right, not rhetoric, voice of the voiceless, and all these things. Now let us discuss, and that will be the end of the session, the challenges to the RTI. What are the challenges that are there for the RTI? So always divide these challenges in some structure. For example, this is one of the very easy structure you can use in so many places. For example, in Citizen Charter, when you read ethics, my lecture. So in Citizen Charter, for example, also you can use this structure. There is a supply side issue, there is a demand side issue, and there is a structural issue. What does this mean actually? Let us see. Supply side means those who have to provide the RTI information. These means the officials. So some problems from the side of the officials, some problems from the side of ourselves, those who demand RTI from our side. We are demanding RTI, right? So from our side, there are also some issues. And there are some structural issues, means some issues in the laws itself, some issues in the infrastructure itself. So these are called structural issues. So that gives you a structure to write your answer. Instead of writing RTI has these issues 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When you write in this structure, you will get 7 to 8 to 9 points automatically. So structure you have to identify. In this idea you have to write. So let us discuss from supply side issue, means the official side. First one is lack of mandatory suo motu disclosure. Now RTI is section 4. Section 4 of the RTI says that every public authority has to suo motu, means from without any compulsion from their own side. Suo motu. For example, yesterday I took a suo motu initiative to ask you people to give me topics to teach. खुद से decision लिया, taken from my side. So the article section 4 of the RTI says that every public authority has to provide all the information on their website and everything suo motu. That should be mandatory done. But if all the information is right there, imagine, then the RTI people will ask less RTI will be there. When all the information is obviously there, already there, very transparently provided in a very good format, why will someone go for the RTI? So introduce this, or to lack of this mandatory suo motu disclosure should be there from the official side, and that is why it is a supply side issue. Then secrecy is a norm, transparency is an exception. है ना, पढ़ते हैं कि norm is secrecy, कि by default we have to remain secret, and exception is the transparency. It should be just the opposite. By a norm you should be transparent, because you are dealing not with your money, you are dealing with the public money. So you have to be transparent each and every time, unless and until there is a wider public interest which says that okay, secrecy is important. For example, India China issue, the defense minister says that the information that I am providing, that can only be provided Otherwise, it will create some national security issue. That's fine. Don't provide us that information. But the transparency should be the norm of the day. Then the capacity building of the officials. A lot of officials are there. They are not interested. They are not capacity building. Their skill set is not there. Next, and also there is a delay in the appointments. So for example, if there is delay, 5 seats are there, 2-3 people are not appointed, the 2 people are doing the work of 5 people. So obviously there will be delays in the RTI giving the information. Appeals will not be heard. So that is there. That is a very important point you need to understand. Outsourcing of the time in management than the actual work. So one of the negative things that has been done by the RTI is RTI has done 2 things negatively. Every positive thing we have read, 2 negative things. First, now the officials spend more time in the management of the information. Arey koi bhi RTI mang le, anyone can ask for an RTI. So we have to do a lot of management of the information. So a lot of time is being spent on the management of the information rather than doing the actual work. Because actual work is done, then the information is created. Now they're managing the information because anyone can ask question on RTI. Secondly, because of the RTI, now many of the officials are not taking decisions, because they are saying if we take the decisions and if we taken the wrong decision, the RTI will disclose and we will go under the hammer. We will be exposed, we will be charged of corruption and all these things. So these are the 2 negative things that came up with the RTI. Then sometimes the information that they provide these people, they are not adequate or they're not relevant. Then again, the applicant has to provide the RTI. It's not proper. So that creates a lot of challenge for the people as well. So these are the supply side challenges, and more you can add on your own. I have added 5 from my side, more you can add. So these are the challenges from the supply side. Few of the example within the supply side we can see. Now one of the CICs and SICs, Chief Information Commissioner and the State Information Commissioner, they're appointed as the old IS officers, those who are retired. Now it has been argued that these IS officers are already working with the government earlier. They already have a culture of secrecy, and how can you appoint them in such posts, this State Information Commissioner, Central Information Commissioner, that are the symbol of the transparency, that are symbol of the this disclosures. And earlier these IS officers have worked under the umbrella of the secrecy. So this is not a good practice. They said around 64% are from elite IS, right? So they say who is better than a retired bureaucrat? They are saying that government itself does not want the disclosures. So it is not, the political will is very poor for the improvement of the RTI. Political will is very poor. After all, who is better than a retired bureaucrat to prevent from getting the public an information that would embarrass the government? So old bureaucrat ko बैठा दो CIC SIC में, and he will help the government out, because the government has worked with the government earlier, right? Then, for example, I was discussing about the section 4, right? Section 4 of RTI, that is there as well. So it says that if section 4 of the RTI was there, then other society scam could have been prevented. What was other society scam? Very old scam. That again RTI success story. So society has to be built for the Kargil war heroes, right? So war widows and the war heroes of the Kargil war. A society has to be built, but some nexus has been done. The chief minister and a lot of bureaucrats were involved, and they have given that building to they have sold their building to the other people, and that ultimately was unearthed because of RTI. And finally the chief minister has to resign over this other society scam. Now some activists say, if the section 4 of the RTI, if all the informations were already in the website of this portal, then this scam would not have happened, right? So we could have prevented it if section 4 of the RTI would have been there. So we have discussed supply side challenges. Let us discuss very quickly the demand side challenges, because we have to finish the session very quickly as well. So demand side challenges are frivolous complaints and RTI requests. For example, someone asked PMO that what is the Wi-Fi speed of PMO. what is the Wi-Fi speed of PMO, and a lot of very frivolous RTI are being requested. So when these are done, it will create a burden, and it gives the excuses to the people, the officials as well. Okay, deny them. Then lack of awareness of people. Not all the people are now knowing about this RTI, so they cannot assert their right. Then threats to the whistleblower and the activists. Those who are the activists, RTI activists, their life is under constant threat. We will see some cases are being put on them, or they're thrown into jail, or they're killed, they're threatened. Then misuse of the provision for vested interest. A lot of people take the information from RTI and use it for their vested interest, not for the public interest. For example, someone told me that someone has taken RTI from Ministry of Road and Highways, and they have used all the information in his PhD thesis. So from RTI information, he got all these PhD thesis. So these are the demand side challenges. Very quickly, let us see. So for example, from PMO, they have asked the speed of the Wi-Fi from the PMO. So enclose all the proper records and documents will show that the present Prime Minister of India is the prime servant of India, not the Prime Minister. Such ridiculous RTI queries. It is incumbent upon us also not to ask these things. Then I was talking about this RTI activist being booked. So you can see he was booked in the assault case. You can see one of the NGOs also tracks that 87 RTI activists have been killed, 172 have been assaulted, 185 have been threatened, and 7 have committed suicide. These are the RTI activists mapping attacks on the RTI users. Right? Hall of shame. So in the absence of this whistleblower act to protection of these people, in the absence of this whistleblower act, RTI becomes a relatively problematic. People do not go for this RTI activism if they do not get protection from the side of the government. Then finally, the structural issues. First, the RTI versus the Official Secrets Act. Last year, it was too much in news. The Official Secrets Act. The Official Secrets Act basically is being used to suppress information. So last year it was in news because of the Rafale. So we will discuss it some later date. It's not in the news, but it is an important topic. Then section 8, I have discussed, I think, one question in my ethics series. Section 8 use disproportionately. So section 8 is basically says that which information will not be disclosed under the RTI. So a lot of authority use section 8 disproportionately. Okay, this information lies in section 8, don't give. This information lies in section 8, don't give. Then infrastructure available to the information commissioners, that is also not present. Infrastructure is not there, then how can they perform? Then finally, the recent amendment is RTI Act, we'll see. And lastly, the lack of penalties. Those officials those who are not performing, penalties are very less. So these are the structural challenges with the RTI. Now I think you can appreciate the difference between demand, supply, and the structural issues. For example, this is section 8. So from RBI, a lot of information is being asked post demonetization, right? But they have said, no, I will not give the information because section 8, sovereignty, integrity of India is threatened and something like that. But finally, Supreme Court has said, no, give all the information. It will not affect the sovereignty, integrity. Then they have to disclose all the information. So RBI also does that. 2019, the government has put the amendments. So before 2019, the CIC and SIC were given the security of tenure. For example, they have the fixed tenure. But now the 2019 amendment says that we can change their tenure. The central government can change the tenure. That means central government can tweak it. So if the CIC and SIC are working against the government, if they're making government accountable, then they will change the CIC, SIC. They can change their salary and all. Salary and allowances they can change. So this is what it is called. Government wants RTI commissioner to be a caged parrot. Right? So compromised CIC and SIC, compromised institutions, the government. 2019 has reduced the credibility of this ICs. Then recently, a report has come from Satark Nagarik Sangathan and Center for Equity Studies. It says that around 2.2 lakh type of RTI cases are pending at the state and the Central Information Commissioner level, which is the final court of appeal. 2.2 lakh cases are pending here as well. So these are the facts you must cram. So it goes to show the problem, structural issues in the RBI Act. Then again, they say that objective of the RTI is getting defeated because of such delays, right? And they are not giving penalties to the people as well, those who are not giving it. Government keeping these ICs post vacant, they're not appointing people there, and people are not appointed, obviously the work will not be done. So this is also being the charges. So these are the challenges we have seen to the RTI, right? So what was the challenges? Supply side issues, demand side issues, and structural issues. And you can use the same arguments, almost the same points with citizen charter as well, with social audit as well. So you need to have this framework, and this framework will help you. Okay, so that's the end of the session, everyone. That's the end of these two topics. Anyone have any doubt? First tell me that whether you will be able to understand the topics or not. This is over the Zoom I have discussed. You can open your mic as well. Just tell me very frankly, so that next time we will discuss or we won't discuss, depending upon the responses.
Yes, sir. We understood the topic.
Full as well. Anyone else apart from Akshay? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Use the chat box as well. You can use the chat box as well. Someone's voice is cutting up, I believe. Some internet connection issue is there. Okay. So please let me know, because next time whether we should do this exercise or not, that should be the main idea. Now the last question of the discussion today is Akshay has asked me yesterday that how to approach this environment, and okay, Hiba has said okay. So about this environment and ecology and the science and tech. First of all, we will, I think, on our portal we'll have some sessions on science and tech. I think Sneha ma'am is taking some of the sessions of science and tech. So use that. First of all, I'm talking about science and tech first of all. So use that sessions. Secondly, use current affairs. Second session, second thing, current affair of from August itself or previous current affair you can see. So science and tech, that can be the other source. For science and tech, current affairs are very important. The space is very important. ISRO, NASA, these are very, very important. Plus, in the biology part, you can read specific topics of 12th biology, right? Biotechnology. You will improve your mains understanding as well. So because some questions are being asked from that area. So for science and tech, these can be the sources, but try to limit these sources and try to revise more. That would be my suggestion. So current affairs, Neha ma'am's lecture, and finally some PA Agnihotri book is there, Ravi Agnihotri, I believe. You can see that book as well. I have not personally referred to it. For science and tech, I personally consider the current affairs to be more than enough, and some basic understanding of the science and tech. So that is enough for me. But for you, you can have this one specific book as well. So, but I will still say Sneha ma'am's lecture, current affairs, and revision, and some NCRT, 12th NCRT.
Yes.
And secondly, the environment and ecology. You see, environment and ecology, first of all, divide environment and ecology into sections. So, for example, the mapping portion, the biosphere reserve, the tiger reserves, the national parks. Tiger reserve series, I have recommended you. 3 to 4 questions have been asked from it. Please do prepare for it, and we will keep on improving from our August section. The location will improve more, right? So all the location national park which are important, I will cover it up. Ramsar sites and all. Secondly, the conceptual part of the environment and ecology. There are 4 chapters at the back end of the 12th biology book, I believe. You can read from that ecology and environment section. I think environment and ecology has also been taken up by the Atul sir in the online. I'm not sure about it. So also see those lectures, these NCRTs, these my lectures, and finally the questions. Questions are the benchmark. The test series questions are the benchmark, and to solve as many questions as possible for both the topics, environment and ecology and science and tech. Environment and ecology, these species and the animal. Last time, I think in the Prelims 2020 lecture, I told you what you can do. You can prepare these state animals from your own. I will try to cover it up as the questions I'll get. But from your side, if you want to put some efforts in, put efforts in these things. This will really, really help you. Okay. So anything else, anyone? Can you please mention the topic empowerment of women and EIA? I will next section. So basically put all your thoughts, I will say, whether the section is announced or not, put all the topics of the list of the topics in the, we have a group of the mentorship. Use that group extensively, put the topics you want to discuss, right? And I will try to forward this one day one topic video on that group as well, if it is not given to you. So I want you all, or at least those people who are in my mentorship group, I want you all to give 20 minutes to that topic every day or every alternate day to prepare that topic completely. Okay. Any question, anything else, please put all the topics that you have messaged me on the group as well, so that I'll look at it and I will discuss it. Anything else, anyone? अरे बाकी सब तो all are silent spectator streams. Okay, then
sir,
let's. Who is speaking?
Sir, this is Akshay.
Yeah, Akshay.
Sir, you just told us about the structural supply and demand side issues in that RTA, right? So is it good that we prepare some templates for our answers? Like,
yes, that is the most important part of the mains preparation. That is the most important part of your preparation. Have these templates. For example, one of the template being demand side, supply side, and structural issues. And when I'll teach the ethics, you will get at least 5 to 6 templates that I will be discussing with you all. For example, one template can be internal changes and external changes, right? And more, the more we will go, we will see more templates that we can use it, right? So prepare these templates. These templates will help you in answering a lot of questions. For example, whenever you have to write the benefits of anything, so try to write the benefits in a stakeholder perspective. Benefit for example, there's a topic consolidation of the banks, right? So whenever the consolidation of banks being asked, write the answer in a structure. Okay, benefit for banks, benefit for banks, benefit for let's say economy, benefit for government, benefit for people, like that. And then you can have separate points for it. Okay, anything else? Okay, then let's finish this session out. So 326 is there. I want these sessions to be very, very fruitful for all of you. Please tell me the more what we can do. Please keep the discussion forum, mentorship discussion forum very vibrant. I'll discuss things with you all. You can give me topics, some specific things that you want to discuss. That's all about mentorship, right? That's the whole idea of mentorship. So see you all in the next session. I hope you liked the session, and please tell me as well. Some of you have said that this session was fruitful. So I would like to continue it because it takes me a lot of efforts to prepare for it as well. But anyway, I have to discuss it in one topic series as well. But do these things so that we can also in touch with the current affair topics. Okay. So see you all next session. Bye bye.
okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Bye.